Hello everyone, welcome back. We have kind of a bittersweet situation here where a long-running bookstore is closing, one of the very few independent bookstores that is left in our entire area. It's sad to see it go, but the good part is I got a huge thing of around 80 paperback books, all science fiction and fantasy, for 25 bucks. So that was at least the good part. It's just sad to see it go, but hey, I got a huge haul and we're going to go through it, and as you can see on the cover, I just brought it home, this huge box, put it down, didn't really go through it again, so it's going to be in no order. We're just going to go through this whole thing. Right up top here, I have most of what I picked up in this one series, the Outlanders series. There are a ton of books in the series, way more than I ever knew, because I picked up like 20 of them. Huge. But when there were so many there, they're worth picking up. So we'll go through a whole bunch of these. A good chunk of them are up top here. Series I know very little about. Seems like the kind of thing Amanda and I would read. It just happens to be one of those that I've never really gotten into, and so I had no idea there were this many. Tons of them. Interesting artwork on some of these. Who even publishes them? Oh, Gold Eagle. Then we have The Four Forges, The Elven Ways #1. I've read that before many years ago. I recognize the cover. We have Tanya Huff. I have a bunch of hers too mixed in here as well. There's a decent amount, so I was trying to grab anything that was in really good condition that I'm going to find a series or like the Outlanders or an author that had multiple books. So I grabbed a whole bunch there. Again, so many of these Outlanders. We have one from the Earth Dawn series. And another one I've read before, Andy Remick, Kel's Legend, The Clockwork Vampire Chronicles. This was a trilogy that Amanda found years ago we both read and both thought was pretty good. A bunch more of these Outlanders mixed in here. And we also have Fire Sanctuary, one of these Questar books. Don't see those very often. We have some Mercedes Lackey. I actually got two but pristine copies of this book, so I was like, alright, I'll go ahead and grab both of those since that's for the store. Some more Mercedes Lackey. And this bookstore used to be one that we would actually frequent as a kid, primarily in the summer randomly, because my mom would go there with me, especially after, say, we went to yard sailing, and this was kind of on the way home from a lot of those places, not very far out of the way, so maybe going there, because they had a decent trade-in program, and my mom would trade in a lot of the kind of junk summer reading stuff that she was reading, and get other junk summer reading stuff before we went to the beach as kids. So I remember going there a lot, and I had got so many Dragonlance books there as a kid, and Star Trek and Star Wars and just all that type of stuff. And for some reason along the way, I guess what they were getting in really changed, because it started to be less of that kind of stuff, less horror, less even a lot of the good nonfiction stuff that I would like to look through. Like a lot of the historical stuff was kind of gone. It started to be far more shelves of J.D. Robb and shelves of Nora Roberts and all kinds of Harlequin romance, like hundreds of Harlequin romances. That kind of stuff started taking over the store, and that's why eventually it just kind of stopped going over the years, and they just couldn't keep up with the rising rent prices, and of course if you kind of are limiting your selection to that type of thing, I mean, how much of that are you really going to be bringing in and selling on a regular basis? So I think that was sort of the death knell, along with rising rent prices for everything. Someone was talking to the business owner who was there today. This is huge, it's hellhole. And she was talking about how they were already pretty much paying a few $100s more a month in the rent than they could afford, and it was going up once their lease was up at the end of the month. So they decided, kind of out of nowhere really, as far as in terms of trying to advertise they were going out, that they just couldn't do it anymore. So a bunch more Tanya Huff And I got a decent amount of Tara K. Harper. I've never read anything by her. More Outlanders. A bunch of those just mixed in here. I was trying to get everything together in the store. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy deal for all of these. I still got a bunch more on the bottom here. And there really just aren't very many bookstores like that anymore around here. There was another one that went out of business 4 or 5 years ago that we went to and found some stuff. And there's like one that's open in my old hometown that's still around, but that's one of the very few. I think it's one of the only reasons that it is. And it's also kind of a pretentious little bookstore in a very pretentious little area. It just kind of works that way, where you can charge a lot more than what things should actually be at that location. And last one here, War Child. This is kind of cool. I love this artwork. It's a Questar book. So this huge kind of a quick just run through of those, rather than getting in detail because there's so much of these Outlanders. But yeah, there's a ton. A couple here we'll probably read a bunch. They're gonna have to go through and lot up and go on the store. But yeah, so it was good for what I was able to grab, and especially because if you watch my other video, it did not have a good start to the day. But it is sad to see that kind of stuff fade away as things change to being online only. So I will be back tomorrow after the last day of the book sale, and hopefully there'll be a lot of cool and interesting things to share with you.